Okay, you guys. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, a topical video on the channel that is something that's been lingering around the community in terms of discussion the last few months, ever since it was announced that there are 5 movies in development over at Paramount for Transformers. One of them is a Bay film, the other one is Josh Cooley, and the others we have no idea about yet. So, the Michael Bay film, this is obviously the big one, the one that seems to be going in production first, because we've been getting some leaks, rumors, and updates here and there over the last few months about it that I've been covering on the channel, whether that's from outlets or the likes of Laszlo, a fellow Transformers fan here on YouTube. It's had me thinking the last few months, if this movie is done right, at least to the likes of the 2007 movie or Dark of the Moon, or hell, at this point, if you pay attention to casual fans and just nostalgia online, the likes of Revenge of the Fallen even would be a big hit probably. If it's even to the level of those first 3 movies, we're going to be saving Transformers movies for at least a little while here. Because, we're on a little bit of a decline right now, with things are kind of up in the air. Transformers 1 didn't do the greatest. Rise of the Beast did okay, but obviously wasn't glowing. It wasn't a glowing box office like the first 4 movies were. So we're really in kind of a tight, weird space right now with Transformers movies. And obviously bringing Bay back, it's nostalgia bait. It's a desperate move to get some of that action and spectacle and summer movie hype again. Because love him or hate him, he is a huge director. He's one of the more popular directors of the 21st century. And you got people like Christopher Nolan praising his directing style and his practical effects over the years. You got guys like Steven Spielberg and I think his name is Jerry Bruckheimer, who was behind Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop and stuff. You got guys like that backing him in the industry. He obviously has talent. Obviously, tons of people love his movies. So it just seems like, I wouldn't say a no-brainer for Paramount right now with the space they're in with Transformers movies, but it kind of makes sense, I could see from their perspective, why they would bring Bay back. I'm looking at all of this and what I just explained, and I'm like, okay, there has to be a line that's drawn here over at Paramount with Lorenzo and Bay and whoever else is involved, that, you have to bring your A game. You have to have your head on straight, and you can't get lost in whatever piece of lore or characters you want to just mash together, taking 5 freaking scripts and rolling them into one horrible dumpster fire movie like The Last Night, or even to a way smaller degree, Rise of the Beast, taking 2 or 3 scripts and putting it into one. Because remember, it was the Optimus movie that was in development, there was the Beast Wars movie, and then it was the Bumblebee movie sequel, and they rolled all 3 of those into one freaking movie. And it was cool, it was decent, but it did not suit, what was it, like the 5-year wait at the time for a new movie? So yeah, they're looking at everything. Bumblebee movie wasn't a box office hit either. It was only successful because of how low the budget was. So it wasn't action-packed. It didn't really wow people like the first couple movies. Rise of the Beast, it was a decent movie. It was received relatively well, but again, it did okay at the box office, and it wasn't really anything crazy in terms of action or story-wise. And then Transformers 1, you get a great story, but it was lacking the hype, or the box office reception, or the spectacle to it. So, they're looking at all of this, and it's like, Bay, you come back, you do what you do best, you keep your head on straight, you don't get lost in whatever other scripts or mythos or characters you just want to cram into one 2.5-hour movie. And you just get in there, you do your job, you bring in stuff that makes it crazy, but you pull back a little bit to the point where it's not overstuffed, where this movie is absolute garbo like The Last Night. And you might have something special here that brings in kind of a cult following for the 2020s. I'm speculating this movie is probably coming out summertime of 2028 or maybe even 2027 at the earliest. So this movie has time to really set a mark in the 2020s and bring Transformers back to its former box office movie glory. Because you look at the internet the last however many years, 5 to 10 years since nostalgia has really been settling in for those first three Bay movies, and especially for the first one in '07, you look at everything going on with casual fans, people who don't even really care about Transformers, but they like those movies and they grew up watching them and they went to go see them in the theaters when they were little kids or teenagers or whatever. And you fast forward to 2025 and people are freaking craving this, man. I go on to TikTok and almost every day or every week I go on to TikTok, there's multiple times where there's accounts that's not even dedicated to Transformers, and it's run by people who really aren't even Transformers fans, but they're doing videos, skits, and content inspired by those first few Bay movies. And it's like with the human characters, they're cosplaying and they're recreating scenes. There's thousands of accounts and millions of videos out there every year doing stuff like this. And Paramount and Hasbro want to tap into that. I see it. This is why they're bringing Bay back. And there has to be a line drawn for this movie being something special that actually makes them money and brings the Transformers movies into the spotlight again that it was in the 2000s and in the early 2010s. So I really hope that Bay knows what he's doing here. He knows what's at stake with this franchise and what fans want. You know, fans of the movies. Transformers fans in general, but you know what movie fans want and what fans of Transformers want. You know, I think getting something from 2007 or the 2011 movie would be the most ideal, but obviously modernizing it a bit and making it better than maybe it was before, because there's been movies after those movies where he's done that have been arguably, you know, from a movie and film and directing perspective that have been better than Dark of the Moon and the '07 movie, so he can do it. That ambulance movie, Pain and Gain, all of those were, arguably better than Dark of the Moon in terms of story and characters. But, you know, doing something like that, just improving on it a little bit for modern times of the 2020s, and you got something special on your hands. So hopefully, if this movie is done right, it saves Transformers movies and it brings us back to the former glory we had in the 2000s and the 2010s. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what Paramount and Michael Bay should be aiming for, because Bay even is in a little bit of a low point with his career right now. He's not really exactly the box office juggernaut director he once was. His last movie, Ambulance, a few years ago wasn't really that big of a hit. I mean, it did okay, but it wasn't really anything special for the box office or public reception. So, Paramount needs this, Hasbro needs it, the Transformers brand needs it, and even Michael Bay needs it himself, which is probably why he's coming back in the first place, for that check and to get his name out there again with a big movie attached to his directorial plate. So we're really gonna have to wait and see, guys. But yeah, let me know down below. Do you think if this movie is done right, and do you think it's going to be done right in general, will it save the future of Transformers movies? And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye.